And our fourth main topic today gets submitted to us by Charlie Jeffery-Hood, who writes, "Hey, John. Big fan for a long time. Thank you, Charlie. Rian Johnson has come out and said that he is dying to direct an episode of The Mandalorian, and that the only thing that prevented it is scheduling conflicts. Say what you want about The Last Jedi. It's visually gorgeous and brilliantly directed, and his work on BB, Breaking Bad is probably what BB is. His work on BB speaks for itself, so I'd love to see this. Do you think it'll happen, or will the divisive nature of Rian Johnson among Star Wars fans prevent it?" All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, look, this is pretty interesting because if you guys will remember, back in sometime in later 2020, Rian Johnson came up, and we actually... I told you guys that I had heard, and I'm not the only one. It's not like I have some special secret knowledge. A lot of people in the industry knew this, that Jon Favreau had actually asked Rian Johnson if he would be interested to direct, and we talked about on the show here, if he would be interested in directing an episode of Mandalorian. We knew that Rian Johnson, that he had been invited down to the set by Dave Filoni and Favreau. He had been invited down to the set. He got to see, Baby Yoda before any of the rest of us did and all that kind of stuff. Well, now, apparently, it is all out there in official information. Let me just double check to see what I got here. Oh, yes. This comes to us from, let me see if I can find it properly here. I'm not sure I can. Yes, this comes to us from the folks over at actually, this was written on Twitter by one of the writers for the USA Today, Saria Wilson, who got on the USA Today and wrote the following. I asked Rian Johnson, now this is USA Today writer. I asked Rian Johnson if he'd ever consider doing an episode of Mandalorian. He said he was dying to, but that for him, it's all about scheduling. He has been writing Knives Out 2 for a while, and now he's going directly into filming it. Of course, they recently announced that Rian Johnson and his Knives Out thing just got a $468 million deal with Netflix for 2 Knives Out sequels, which is like one of the richest things in the history of streaming. Writing Knives Out 2, and now he's going directly into filming it. So it'd be a matter of finding time to break away and do it. He said he has spoken to Dave Filoni about it. He had gone and visited the set during season 1. He said it was cool, and I told him I was very jealous. He had seen Baby Yoda months before the reveal. Now, this, of course, comes to us from the Twitter account of the USA Today's Saria Wilson. Now, again, we had sort of spoke about this a while ago, that Favreau had indeed inquired of Johnson to see if he would be interested in doing this and in shooting this thing. And that Rian Johnson, there was a scheduling it seems like it's a scheduling issue for him to do it. Now, I have of 2 minds on this. Mind number 1, Rian Johnson is a killer director. I don't care what the fuck your opinion of The Last Jedi is. I don't care. He is a killer director. His films get Academy Award nominations. He's knocked it out of park with Knives Out, all that kind of stuff. You may or may not have liked what his approach to The Last Jedi would have been. That's fair. But overall, he is a killer director. So I would be very intrigued to see a guy I think is a terrific director doing an episode of a TV series I really love. We've seen him do great work on individual TV episodes before as well. So he's really strong. That being said, if I were the head of Lucasfilm and they came to me and asked me, "Sir, the guys would like to set up having Rian Johnson doing a episode of Mandalorian. Can you just sign this to give it the green light?" I would say no. But John, you just said you think he's a great director. I do think he is a great director. I mean, that's almost beyond refute at this point. He's a great director. Yeah. Then why would you say no? The reason I would say no is because, fairly or unfairly, Rian Johnson's name is a very divisive name amongst Star Wars fans. It just is. And the reality is, Rob, to use a sports analogy, remember Tim Tebow? Remember Tebow time? Tim Tebow? So there were some teams that thought he could make a very decent backup quarterback, but nobody wanted to sign him because of the media circus that would come along with him. Even though many teams thought he would make a very capable backup quarterback, a lot of teams just wouldn't sign him because it would just create a media circus. I feel the same way about Rian Johnson with anything to do with Star Wars. Now, I said the same thing about this proposed Rian Johnson trilogy of Star Wars films that I have said from day one. I just don't believe it's ever going to happen. I still don't believe it's ever going to happen. I think he's great. I love the films he makes. But I don't think it would be good for Star Wars overall, because here's the thing, Rob. You announced that Rian Johnson is going to be directing an episode of Mandalorian Season 3. It won't matter to anybody if Jon Favreau himself said, I insist Rian Johnson. It won't matter. The story will be Rian Johnson. It won't be Mandalorian. The story will be Rian Johnson, and all the division and all the talk and all the everything and the bittering battle sides, those pro-Johnson people, the anti-Johnson people, blah, blah. And that's all it's going to be. It's going to become a circus. You know, when they bring on a director like Bryce Dallas Howard, or they bring in a Taika Waititi, or they bring whoever they bring in, it's like, oh, cool, that person's directing it. Neat. Let's talk about Mandalorian. Oh, that person's coming to direct an episode. Neat. I wonder how that's going to affect Mandalorian. If Rian Johnson comes on, the only headlines, the only talk, the only discussion is going to be the riff-raff battle between the two sides, and it's just going to be a circus. And even though I think he's a great director, no, I do not green light. I do not give my approval if I'm a Lucasfilm head to Rian Johnson directing it, even if Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni insisted. I would just say, look, it's just not good for the brand right now. It's not good for Rian. Rian is riding really hot right now, Rob, signing that sweet $450 million check. He's riding hot right now. This would not be a good move for him, and it would not be a good move for the Star Wars fan base, and because it would just be very divisive, and it would not be good for Star Wars overall because of that. So I would say no. Rob, you know, we're hearing now, it's now out in public. Rian Johnson was on set. He's spoken to Favreau. He's spoken to Filoni, all that kind of stuff. Says he can't do it because of scheduling. But let's say you're in that boardroom, Rob. You're the executive of Lucasfilm. And one of the interns comes in, says, excuse me, Mr. Burnett, they need your signature on this to green light, you know, Rian Johnson shooting an episode of Mandalorian. Do you green light it? Yes or no? And why? How do you feel?
I would green light him directing, because I, as a board member, a fan response wouldn't even enter into my thinking, because I would think, okay, first of all, I'm a Breaking Bad fan, Rian Johnson, and you directed a number of the great episodes of that show, including The Fly and Ozymandias. So obviously you won't be writing your episode. At least I don't think he would be. You know, he would be brought on board to direct a script that was given to him, like in Breaking Bad. And you did so as a TV director, you came onto this already great show, and your directorial stylings only elevated the material. And you directed the second highest grossing Star Wars film of all time. So despite the fact that the hardcore fan audience, you've made this very divisive piece, I would use that. I would turn it around and be like, yeah, come at me, bro. I'm hiring Rian Johnson. Because everybody's going to be primed. Everybody's going to be talking about it. It's going to up. I'm sure Rian Johnson directing Mandalorian will trend on Twitter. It'll be on Reddit. It'll be everywhere. And we don't even have to promote it. So all I need you to do, Ryan, is take Favreau or Filoni's scripts and knock them out of the park, bruh. You just do what you do. Bring what you brought to Breaking Bad to this, you know, make me some Emmy award-winning television. And when you've done that and you've made your 35-minute episode and you walk away and everyone's primed to hate you, but they end up loving this episode, we're all going to be heroes. And if there's what's more Star Wars than that, fighting against the evil empire of bitter fans. Now, I'm saying that's if I'm a Disney executive. Do I personally think that it's always the best move? I don't know, but I do think Rian Johnson, especially if he's not writing the episode, he's still a very good director, and I think he's shown. Forget Star Wars, but I would hire him based only on his Breaking Bad episodes to direct a script that's overseen by Favreau and Filoni.
All right, so it seems like you and I both agree this would become a media circus, but you think it could work in their benefit. I think it would be bad for the overall brand. So I'm sure there's a million
do anything right now that's worse for the overall brand. I mean, to me,
that's true.
They can't. Lucasfilm can't do anything worse right now. So,
yeah, it's kind of true. So the question is for you guys. We'll put it to you. What were you going to say?
I was going to say what they need to do is announce Rian Johnson is directing the episode that brings Cara Dune back.
Oh my God.
That's what I would do.
Now there's a media circus.
That's what I would do.
There's a media circus. So the question is for you guys. What do you think about this whole thing? Do you think it would be a wise decision? I mean, either, again, I think it would be a bad decision for Star Wars, and I think it would be a bad decision for Rian. This guy's on a hot streak getting love and affection and money thrown at him everywhere he goes. Would he really even want to come back to Star Wars? I think from a Star Wars point of view, I think it would just create fodder for a year of bitter, angry debate between pro and con. Rob sees this as maybe some of you see it. Listen, you take advantage of that media circus. You take advantage of all the attention and parlay that into something positive. Maybe that's how you can approach it. Maybe you guys have a different opinion altogether. Whatever it is, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, listen.